Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another market analysis for the month of May. Now, with a few upcoming major updates, the RuneScape economy has been shifting quite a lot. Today we're going to be looking at some of the big picture changes over the last couple of months, as well as a few minor things that have happened due to smaller updates. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the PVM market as always, but coming up pretty soon we actually have the Elite clue change. So as always, there is a lot to cover. Hope you guys enjoy. As always, if you find the video helpful, always appreciate a like on it. Anyway, let's get started. Now, by far the biggest story over the last couple of months is the PVM market. The Tombs of Amascut has been responsible for a huge increase in the price of most items, but specifically high-end PVM items. Now, there are a ton of items to look at here, but one in particular that I've been tracking for months now is the Harmonized Orb. This one is really interesting to me because it has had a huge price increase and it might not be super obvious as to why. Now, this item bottomed out at under 400 mil back in February, kind of January time. Now, if you look at the last quarter, we can see how much it's actually gone up. But ever since then, it has been trending upwards with around a 200 mil increase in the last month or two. Now, obviously, right now, there's a ton of speculation on this item. With the Tombs of Amascut, we're getting a new best in slot mage weapon, and it feels a bit odd that, the thing that it is replacing is going up so quickly. Now, with that said, though, I think a lot of people are speculating that, well, because the Heck of Tumikin is coming from Mage 3 and Jagex has a historical trend of making, the items somewhat useful in the content that it comes from, I think a lot of people think that Mage is going to be good in TOA. And because of that, I think a lot of people think that the Harmonized Orb is going to see some use, and the Harmonized Orb was at an all-time low and could have a ton of room to grow as well. Now, that said, across the board, the high-end, most expensive item for every combat style has been going up. So the Harmonized Orb is the magic one, but we also have the Scythe for melee, which is up to actually 600 mil. Also been trending up quite a bit the last couple of months, and we have the Twisted Bow, which is now up to over 1.1 bill again, also on a steady trend upwards. Now, another PVM item that I really want to highlight is the Bandos Chestplate. This item in particular has gone up to an all-time high of pretty much 30 mil. If you look at the month, yeah, it's not really been going up much, but if you look back at the quarter and into the year, we can see just how expensive this item is now. It has doubled since back in October. And if you look back at the all-time historic view, it is at an all-time high by a significant margin. Now, historically, the Bandos Tassets have been worth quite a bit more than the chestplate, but now, not the case. Tassets are actually worth significantly less and have not seen nearly the growth that the chestplate has. Now, personally, I think this is still mainly caused by the Bandosian Components update, which allows you to dismantle Bandos items into the Bandosian Components. These are made to make Torva, and the chestplate gives 3 and the Tassets give 2, which has kind of locked them together and has made the chestplate simply more valuable in the dismantling process. I don't think the meta for the item has changed really that much, just simply now that you can dismantle them. Now, another item that has seen just a huge price increase in the last couple of months is Pegasians or Ranger Boots. Now, obviously everything is going up, and ranged armor in particular, but the Pegasians have honestly gone up such a tremendous amount. Back in November, they're worth around 27 mil. Now they are nearly double that at around 45 mil. Just an absolutely huge increase, and of course, the price of Ranger Boots is pretty much mirrored, which obviously makes sense. Now, an interesting side effect to Ranger Boots being so expensive is the price of Eclectic Impleens. Now, this might not be the only reason as to why these are so expensive, but Eclectic Impleen jars are around 6,000 each. I was trying to go do a master clue scroll the other day, and I thought I'd just buy some Impleens to speed things up, and I wasted 400k just to get one clue, so they are really pricey right now. If we look back at the last quarter, they've gone up around 40–50%. Over the last year, they've gone from 2.5 thousand up to 6,000. Now, I think there's a couple factors here, and it kind of is hard to determine whether or not Eclectics are expensive because Rangers are expensive, or vice versa. Another kind of interesting factor that I honestly think could be having an effect is simply just people making videos on opening clue scrolls. There's honestly not a gigantic supply of Impleens compared to how many people might want to use them, and I honestly think content creators making videos on these and making series on these could have an actual tangible impact. But it's not just Eclectics. Gourmet Impleens have also gone up a lot as well. These are used to get easy clues and they're worth 5,000 each. Debatable whether that's ever worth it anymore. considering to get a single easy clue, it could cost you over 100k GP, which is, I don't think that's worth it. The price is also very volatile with pretty large spikes when people try to buy a lot of them. Once again though, these have been on a steady incline all year, going from around 2.2k up to 5k. Kind of crazy, and I'm very surprised people would still buy these. Now another PVM item that has trended up a lot recently, the Inquisitors armor set, nearly up to 400 mil, and this week alone it's gone up around 50 mil, so that is significant. In the last 3 months it's gone from 250 up to 400, so in general crush items have been going up a lot. Once again, there's just a ton of speculation on Inquisitors. Now why do people think crush is going to be best in slot? Two reasons I think. One, a few veiled comments and things in the live stream, but I think another stronger reason is simply the fact that the Karis Partisan even exists, because this is a brand new item they introduced with the new quest, and unless its only use is meant to be Cowfight Queen, then it's gotta be useful in the Tombs of Amascut, which means most likely Crush will be useful as well. Now another interesting update that I've been tracking is the Elite Clue change from poll number 76. Now to summarize quickly, Elite Clues have pretty much been bugged for years now, and the odds of getting a third age item from Elites is meant to be actually a little bit more common than it currently is. Now it's not a drastic difference, but enough to make Elite Clues a lot more viable, and that should be coming out very soon. Now if we take a minute to have a look at third age items, they're kind of all over the place, and there isn't a consistent pattern I've noticed between them all. First item to have a look at here is the third age Longsword. It's gone from 400 mil, went up to 700 mil, and then dropped to 500 mil. Why did it spike up this high? It's hard to say. Because these items are so rare and there's not a lot of volume in the Grand Exchange, prices can swing pretty substantially, but that does still seem a bit odd. Now with third age becoming more common from Elite Clues, one would imagine that third age prices will at least go down a bit. And personally, I also think that, or maybe I just hope that, because I'm trying to buy a lot of them anyway. Now personally, I think that this change won't have a big impact on the prices. I would be very curious to learn how many pieces of third age come from mimics versus how many come from regular clue scrolls, how many third age pieces come from masters, and how many come from hard clues versus elites. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but let's have a look at some items here. Now beyond the Longsword, we have the third age bow. If we look back at the year, it has gone down a lot from 2 bill down to around 900 mil. It's pretty insane what happened back in 2020. Such a massive explosion in the price of these items. Here we have the third age wand, which went from 80 mil up to like 700 mil and down to around 200. Still, for the most part, looks like it is trending downwards. But if you even look at some of the cheaper pieces, such as the third age kite shield, that actually is trending upwards. The third age cloak, I mean, it's gone up a little bit this month, although once again, still down from where it was last year. The third age plate skirt, that's been trending upwards. That's gone up around 30 mil in the last couple of months, although once again, still down from where it was a year ago. So overall, I would say there is not a huge impact so far, but maybe once the change has been out for a few months, third age that you can get from elites could start trending downwards. Now obviously, poll blogs and potential updates that are posted right on the RuneScape website can have a substantial effect on the price of items, but something I don't see as often is something like Game Jam or Ideation Days substantially affecting the price of an item. For example, in April, there was Game Jam, and during it, some mods tried to come up with a prototype for a Wilderness expansion, and just the thought of a potential change to Wilderness actually affected the price of a few items. For example, looking at the Dark Bow, it went from 600k up to 1.5 mil, just due to this idea that could be months off, years off, we don't know. Just the mention of an upgraded Dark Bow, and boom, doubles in price. Now another item that was mentioned is the Dragonfire shield, which would also have an upgrade from this potential Wilderness extension. Once again, goes from 3.5 mil up to about 5 mil. It's really impressive how closely players are monitoring this, because this was just on Twitter. I mean, it wasn't even mentioned on the OSRS website until the end of April, start of May. So there are obviously lots of investors out there paying close attention and looking for opportunities. Now, a few final items I wanted to have a look at are blood runes. These have actually recovered significantly. I really didn't expect blood runes to recover this quickly, but they're back up to 360, which means from the start of the year until now, they have gone up around 100 GP. Now, obviously, they're not quite worth as much as what they were last year, but even with the increased production from the rune crafting outfit, blood essence, and the true blood altar, blood runes are still going up, and that really just goes to show how big of a demand there are for this item. The Sanguinesti and the Scythe just sink so many blood runes, it's kind of insane. And it's really apparent when you look at something that doesn't have as much a use, such as Wrath runes. Wrath runes have gone from 460 down to 300, so they have lost like 50 to 60% of their value, simply because there's just not enough demand for Wrath runes. And finally, bonds are getting expensive once again. Historically, there used to be a fairly common trend with bonds, but now after 2020, that's kind of out the door. Like previously, there used to be a fairly steady increase and crash at Christmas time and then repeat, but look at this year, it's just all over the place. No rhyme or reason. Right now, we're at the highest it's been since 2020. And honestly, at this point, I don't really have an explanation why, but I'm very curious to see if we break a new record by the end of the year. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Now before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Nello, Alejandra, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed to the Dragon tier. Really, I appreciate it so much. Also a giant thank you to Kaitin987, Mexos, Base Titch, MDM001, and YoYoSub89 for being subscribed to the Rune tier. Appreciate you guys as well. As always, if anyone's looking for a direct way to support me, YouTube membership is the best way to do so. You'll get immortalized in all of my future videos, you can get a custom role on my Discord server, and you'll even know when all my videos are coming out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.